We will be your host for today.
This conference will now be recorded.
CMEs and workshops. It aims at bringing together all physiotherapy professionals for sharing knowledge and improving public awareness about physiotherapy. We have 5 zones in India with heads for each. Dr. Pooja Kamre is the West Zone head. The state team of IAP Women's Cell Maharashtra includes State Coordinator Dr. Suvarna Ganvir, Joint Coordinator Dr. Snehal Patel, and Sub-Coordinators Dr. Uttara Mohan, Dr. Priya Karande, and Dr. Nirali Sangvi. In Maharashtra, IAP Women's Cell has conducted more than 40 low-cost activities in various districts. In the first corporate IAP conference held in Indore in April 2019, Maharashtra state received award for the best state IAP Women's Cell. We shall now proceed for today's session. I would like to introduce our honorable speaker for today, Dr. Swati Surkar. She is presently working as an assistant professor in the Department of Physical Therapy College of Allied Health Sciences, East Carolina University. She has completed her bachelor's from MUHS, ranking first in college. Her master's from Mumbai University, ranking first in university. She completed her PhD from University of Nebraska Medical Center and postdoc fellowship from Washington University. She has many awards to her name, which few are Author Recognition Award, Jean Hugh Award, Graduate Student of Distinction, University of Nebraska Medical Center. She has also received many scholarships throughout her career, including distinguished scholarships from American Academy of Cerebral Palsy and Developmental Medicine, Nebraska, SAS Association Student Scholarship, and International Travel Grant Scholarship from IAP. Adding to her highly impressive resume are many research grants and publications. I welcome you, ma'am. We all are very eager to hear from you. Before starting this session and giving the mic to ma'am, I really would like to request all of you to again, please silence the microphones so the session may go on smoothly. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Ashwini, for such a kind introduction. And thank you, IAP Women's Cell, for inviting me as a speaker on this topic, which is Gateway to Higher Education in Physical Therapy in the United States. And thank you all for being here. So we are using technology. I hope everything goes smoothly. I'm going to start sharing my screen. I hope you're able to see it. And we'll go from here. So once again, thank you for being here and thanks for having me. So let's see if this works well. Okay. Can you all see my screen okay? Perfect. All right, so let's get started. So before I start the talk, here is my disclosure. I do not have any financial relationships. And coming to the objectives of today's session. So I'm going to highlight on 4 things in today's talk. So at the end of session, you will understand what are the opportunities for higher education in physical therapy in the United States. Secondly, you will understand what and how are the procedures for securing admissions, funding, scholarships, etc. In the later half of this talk, I will highlight some of the job opportunities after you complete your higher education in the United States and some of the do's and don'ts of higher education. So why am I a right speaker for this topic? If you ever wonder. So I would like to walk you through a little bit of my scientific journey. And as you can see in this map, it actually spread across 2 different continents. And I'm fortunate enough to have an experience of education system in India as well as the education system in the United States. And today I would like to combine those experiences and provide you an opportunity to understand how this journey can come together. So before that, let me briefly orient you how it started and where it is eventually. So my scientific journey in the world of physical therapy started in year 2000 when I decided to pursue bachelor's degree. I completed it in year 2005 from Ravi Nair Physical Therapy College in Savangi Mege, Wardha. And right from the beginning, I am really a blessed person to have wonderful, wonderful mentors in my life. So when my journey started with bachelor's, I was fortunate enough to have Dr. Suvarna Ganveer, Dr. Sham Ganveer, and Dr. Prema Khatri madam, and many others as my mentors, who just not imparted their knowledge, but also wisdom, and always motivated to walk on the path of excellence. And that journey continued. So after bachelor's, I started master's degree from Topiwala National Medical College and Nair Hospital from Mumbai. And I'm sure all of you know Dr. Hutakshi Writer, one of the very renowned neurorehabilitation professional from India. And I was once again blessed to have her my guide. So after completing my master's degree, I decided to pursue academia because that's my inherent interest right from the beginning. So I started working as assistant professor at St. G.S. Medical College and KM Hospital in Mumbai. And as you might know, this is the first college, not just in India, but also in Southeast India for physical therapy. And there again, I had an opportunity to work with these excellent mentors, Dr. Jaimala Shetty, Dr. Nitin Karnik. They were not just the colleagues, but also collaborators. We worked together, we enjoyed our work, and we published together. So my scientific journey actually started here. So while I was a faculty, I developed deep interest in research. And while I was really enjoying my teaching and clinical practice, as well as a little bit of research, somewhere I felt some barriers going towards more intensive research. And those barriers at the time were about availability of resources related to research, cutting edge technologies, mentorship. And that's the time I decided to come to the United States and pursue my PhD. So in 2012, I came to the University of Nebraska Medical Center and started my PhD under these two really cream scientists, Dr. Reggie Harbon and Dr. Max Kurz. Both are really wonderful scientists. Dr. Reggie Harbon even contributed to this book, which is used as textbook actually in the United States in physical therapy. So both are well published and really nice scientists. So after completing my PhD, I had once again an opportunity to either go in academics and or start teaching or go for postdoctoral fellowship. And I decided to pursue latter. So I started as a postdoctoral fellow at #1 university in physical therapy in the United States, which is Washington University in St. Louis, under world-renowned scientist in stroke rehabilitation, Dr. Catherine Lang. And her name says it all. This was a book she has published, and you might wonder or surprised to know this book used to be my Bible throughout my master's and later in professional life. And this was an emotional moment when I actually got to work as a postdoc fellow with Catherine, whose book was my pillow during my master's and during my professional life. So that was my educational journey. And right now I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Physical Therapy at East Carolina University. I'm also a director of Pediatric Assessment and Rehabilitation Lab. My responsibilities are primarily research. So 70% of the time I do research. 25% time I allot to students. So for teaching to Doctor of Physical Therapy program. And you can see here is our beautiful East Carolina University. And I say it with pride. This is the campus where humanity meets with science. So here I am. And so the reason for sharing this whole story or whole journey with you is just one. And that reason is this is a journey of a small town girl who did not have any resources, neither financial nor socio-economical, but just had dreams and determination. And with that dreams and determination, I started this path and walked along. So today, like as I said before, I met with many wonderful mentors who guided me through the process. I wish I could be that mentor for you and to give you a proper guidance about the further journey. So without further delay, let me start with this. So why USA? Many question comes like, why do we need to pursue physical therapy, or why should we pursue physical therapy in the United States? So among many reasons, I have just highlighted 5 here. It's one of the older and established education system. So when research had just started emerging in many countries, you would be surprised to know that the first research paper from the United States in physical therapy was published in 1921 in Physical Therapy Reviews. So it is that older of a system for research, and practice even started well before World War I. So yeah, it's the older system. There are resources. This is a resourceful country. No matter like you ask for or you want to have access for gait labs, fancy neuroimaging techniques, exoskeleton robotics, name it, and it's there. So you get to learn with those skill sets. There are library resources. I can download like unlimited articles, full text article. I can read them and I don't have to pay for it. So those are really the resources I was looking for, and those are available in the US. Thirdly, you get an opportunity to live an American dream. So what is American dream? American dream says or aspires to dream high and to achieve those dreams. So you get to live that dream after your education. And some which are very personal to me. I feel it's this is the country where there are a lot of like facilitators for your progress and success, so that you can concentrate all your energies to one place, which is your work and work-life balance, and can progress towards your goals. I would like to just give a small example here. When I was in master's and wanted to go for further education, or like when I started my PhD applications, it literally took me 6 months to just procure my transcripts from Mumbai University, whereas it just took 3 days for me to procure admissions from my PhD university. So just like when you think about all those time factors, I feel that there are a lot of facilitators here. And not last but not the least, it's very important for me to learn outside the classroom. And that learning also happens here from diverse culture, because culturally you will see so much of diversity here. So those are my top 5 reasons why I would choose physical therapy or overall education in the United States. So having said that, now when we think about the gateways, so I divided this talk in 2 separate, sessions. One is for clinicians and another is for academicians, or I would say one, those who aspire to become clinician, and other people who aspire to become academician or researchers. So let's start with the first gateway. Okay. So if you are the person whose goal is to be a clinician, and if you have completed bachelor's degree in physical therapy in India, and I just want to clarify here, physiotherapy is called physical therapy in the United States, so I might little bit switch between physiotherapy and physical therapy, so kindly consider it. So if you completed bachelor's degree in India, your 2 options are, you can either come for master's in health sciences or master's in physical therapy, or you can come for doctor of physical therapy. And I would like to just quickly walk you through how does master's look like. Master's is usually 1 to 2 years of program after your bachelor's degree. And Doctor of Physical Therapy is actually an entry to physical therapy program. So similar to like if we combine the bachelor's and master's degrees from India, that all the degrees, both the degrees are condensed together in 3 years of Doctor of Physical Therapy degree. Now, please note, Doctor of Physical Therapy is not PhD. PhD is different. And I will take you through PhD journey later in this talk. But yeah, please do remember, DPT is not equivalent to PhD. Okay. And the third option is Transitional Doctor of Physical Therapy, or TDPT. I will not spend much time on TDPT because as a having bachelor's or master's degree from India, you cannot directly come for TDPT to pursue TDPT in the United States. But if anybody has any specific questions regarding TDPT, I would be happy to answer at the end of this session. So these are the two different programs, master's and DPT. So then what are some of the pros and cons? Why should you come for master's or doctor? So I will briefly let you know. If you complete bachelor's and you come here for master's degree, you have to go through this something called as credential evaluation. And I will touch base on it as well just after 2 slides. So in order to qualify for licensure exam, you need to complete this credential evaluation. But if you directly come for Doctor of Physical Therapy degree program, which is 3 years entry to profession, you don't have to go through extensive credential evaluation. You can directly take licensure exam and start working as a physical therapist. Okay. Now, if you have completed master's degree, but your goal is still to be a clinician, what are your ways? You can still come here for master's degree, pursue master's degree in physiotherapy, which could be just as short as 1 year program, 1.5 year, or 2 year program, depending on what university you get admitted to. So once you complete master's degree, you still have to go through the entire credential evaluation. And as I said, I will touch base on credential evaluation later. After credential evaluation, you have to take licensure exam, and then you can start working as a physical therapist. So you might have realized in India, we have, once we have degree, we have, license, automatically a license to practice, but that does not happen in the United States. Irrespective of degrees, you have to have the clearance of licensure exam, then only you can start working as a physical therapist. So let me first walk you through. So once you completed bachelor's or master's, and if you want to be clinician, then what are your ways or what are your options to procure admissions here? So for master's degree, very few universities are providing master's degree. There are only 4 in my knowledge who gives master's degree. American Physical Therapy Association, or APTA, is a professional body which regulates all the physical therapy program as well as practice and research in the United States, has mission that from 2020, that means this year, all the programs, all entry-level programs should be Doctor of Physical Therapy. So my master's degree might be obsolete just in few years from now. This year, there are admissions which are occurring in master's program. It might be true for next year, but it might not be true in couple years down the line. Okay. So once you decide you want to come for master's degree, you identify those universities. What are those universities which fit your goals? Communication is a key here. So whenever you do communication with the universities and ask for specific program information, your communication has to be appropriate. And once again, I will touch base on what are the appropriate and inappropriate communications later during this talk. The other thing that you will need curriculum vitae or resume, which should reflect your educational background, professional experience, any clinical experience, volunteering, all those things. So basically, resume or curriculum vitae, that is the reflection of yourself. So you have to, present yourself smartly, but present also authentically. Then your GPA. So in the United States, we follow GPA here, which is grade point average. Historically in India, there used to be percentage system of marks. I think, or I believe now that's changing. But in the United States, GPA ranges from 0 to 4. So usually for master's program, you need GPA of 3.5 to 4, which is usually if you have above 65% of marks, your GPA will fall in this range. And how do you convert that GPA? You send your all transcripts or your mark sheets and syllabi to World Education System, and they do evaluation and convert your marks into GPA. So then question might be here that if you do not have above 65% marks, does it mean that you cannot come for master's degree in the United States? Well, the answer is not that straightforward, but I would say here, if you can compensate your less marks with good clinical experience, if you have other experience like, for example, teaching or clinical experience or some research experience, volunteering experience, certifications, those would also make up or count towards your GPA, like to make you as a good candidate. Okay. The other thing that you will need is statement of purpose. Now, what is statement of purpose or SOP? It is basically, it shows your intention. Why are you interested in, first of all, who are you? Like, what is your educational background? What have been you up to until now? What are your interests and why you want to pursue your master's from this particular university? And then after pursuing master's, what are your goals and how will you contribute to profession and to the society? So that is the overall statement of purpose. Okay. Then you have letter of, so let me back up. In statement of purpose, basically you say that I am an outstanding candidate because of these reasons and I am interested in your university. Then you have letter of recommendation. Usually 2 to 3 recommendation letters are required. So from whom you will obtain these recommendation letters? So it depends. If you are fresh graduate and bachelor's is your degree, you will get those recommendation letters from the professors of your college. Or if you did some clinical rotation with someone, and if that clinical rotation or if that clinician can write a letter for you, that could be one more recommendation letter. If you have master's degree and clinical experience, then each of your institute from bachelor's, master's, as well as your current employee will write recommendation letter for you. And the purpose of recommendation letter is others are saying that you are a good candidate and you have prospect of succeeding in the program as well as contributing to the profession. So apart from that, you need GRE and TOEFL. These are the standardized test exams, and I hope you heard about these exams sometime. Nowadays, there is a discussion going on in the United States. GRE might be taken off, but that decision is not unanimous. It depends from university to university. So whether requirement of GRE is there, it depends on the university you choose. Okay. So these are the required things for your admissions. So coming to some of the cost and financial assistance thing. So one thing, education in the United States is expensive for sure. The estimated cost of 1 to 2 years of master's program is 30,000 to 60,000 US dollars, which is equivalent to 23 to 46 lakhs. Yes, it is expensive. But few universities offer partial funding. So for example, if you secure admission, if you if you make a good impression, if your CV speaks, if you have a few extra skills, you might get teaching or research assistantship, but you have to apply for that. You have to strive for those. Sometimes you might try also like local state government. So for example, I heard Maharashtra government has some scholarships for education abroad now, or Tata Education Fund. So those are other agencies you can approach. So yes, these funding can take care of your living expenses, but still you have to pay huge tuition fees. But the other side of the coin is that the average pay of physical therapist is about 65 to 90,000 US dollars per year, which is pretty equivalent to 50 to 60 lakhs per year. So student get degree and usually in 2 to 3 years time period, they can pay off their education loan. So that's about the financial. So what are the ways to go about? I'm a person who believe that you can do it. So I would always say you can do it yourself. All you need is right skills and confidence. and some risk-taking attitude. If something doesn't go right, it might cost you time, but you need to believe in yourself, you need to do your due diligence, and you can follow the process by yourself. Or you go with some good education advising consultancy. And good over here, I mean by good is experienced, skilled, and knowledgeable. So you can get those consultants who can actually work with you and can guide you through the process. Okay. So as I mentioned before, I will touch base on licensure exam and credential evaluation. So once you have your master's degree from the United States, that doesn't end the story here. In order to work, you need to have licensure exam. So there is something called National Physical Therapy or NPTE exam. That's the exam you need to pass with 70% of the marks. But before that, what you need to do is you need to send your credentials to something called as FCCPT. It is Foreign Credential Commission on Physical Therapy. What is the role of credential evaluation and this board? So once you have degree from India and another degree from USA, the US education system or this credential board want to see that your education is substantially equivalent to the physical therapy degree here in the United States. So what they do, they ask your mark sheet, syllabi, and you need to pay huge fees as well for that, but they convert your based on your prior education, they convert it into the US education system. So they see whether you have all those knowledge and skill sets to work as a physical therapist here. So once you have those credential evaluation done, sometimes there could be some deficiencies. Like deficiencies could be in the form of like some English exams or social science exams. Those you can take online, fulfill those deficiencies, and you can take your licensure exam. So remember, having degree doesn't end the story over there, or doesn't give you a job, or doesn't give you opportunity to work as a physical therapist. You have to have your credential evaluation done, and then you have to take licensure exam, pass that, and then you can start working in the in particular state. Okay, so that's about the physical therapy. So is it easy to find a job? So the answer is, for clinician, it depends. I don't like to use word job market, but I would still say the job market for PT is not yet saturated in the United States. But you need skills, good communication, and most importantly, visa sponsorship. Now, I do not have time to go into the visa sponsorship details, so I will skip this topic. It itself is a topic of another 1 hour. So those are the things for clinicians. So I will switch gear here and talk about the opportunities for academician, researchers, and scientists. So this is the route that I took. I came here for a PhD, Doctor of Philosophy, and I told you at the beginning, this is different from Doctor of Physiotherapy. So Doctor of Physiotherapy is a clinical degree. Doctor of Philosophy is an intensive research degree, which helps you in making academician, researcher, or scientist. So what are the requirements? And I'm going to touch base on these requirements in detail in next couple slides, but similar to bachelor's degree, you need good GPA, strong communication skills, GRE, and TOEFL scores. But what is different from master's degree, in order to get admission to PhD, you need to have good research background. Publications are great. Some scientific presentation, national and international conferences. And as I said, I'm going to touch base on this in detail in the next slide. So funded positions are available for PhD, which take care of your all tuition fees. In fact, it pays you, but they are very, very competitive. And you will understand the reason why they are competitive just in 1 second. So let's have a look here. Finding funded position and mentor is crucial because self-funding will cost you 200 to 300,000 US dollars. So if you convert it into Indian rupees, For your PhD, the cost for 4 years will come to 1.5 crore to 2.3 crore. Really expensive, in my opinion. So, in order to get such funded position, you definitely need to compete against many others, and you need to make yourself as an outstanding candidate. So it goes without saying that admission process is rigorous. Usually GPA, and I wrote it like I was a bit cautious in writing 3.25, but usually 3.5 to 4 GPA and above 65% of marks will make you a good candidate. Strong CV, as I said, it's a reflection of yourself, your academic background, your research experience, your clinical. So all those will go in your strong CV. Along with that, statement of purpose, which I mentioned in the, it remains the same for masters, but the only difference here now, in statement of purpose for PhD, you have to align your or somehow connect your research experience or intent to pursue PhD with mentor's research. So for example, my interest was in cerebral palsy research, and the mentor I chose for my PhD was also working in cerebral palsy. But I had to make a link, what I want to learn from that mentor, how I want to achieve my long-term goals, what specific learning skills and knowledge will make me a scientist that I desire to be, and how all these things can be accomplished in her and his lab, and how will it help me enhancing in profession and contributing to the profession. So that was the statement of purpose. Once again, letter of recommendation remains the same. One can be from your bachelor's institute, one can be from your master's, or one can be from your current employer. Sometimes you need to write a research statement for PhD. And so that research statement is, again, it's like what was your past research background, what you currently aspire to do, and what is your future, how does your future interest looks like. So that is research statement. And cover letter is kind of a formal letter where it is amalgam of all these different things, but in a brief way. So that is your cover letter. Once again, you need good GRE and TOEFL score. And as I said, if university needs GRE, then you have to acquire that GRE score. What will make you outstanding candidate? Your publication record. Yes. And as I said before, if you have article published in PubMed journal, that is great. If you do not have article published in PubMed journal, what usually happens during the time of your application, mentor asks, can you provide us the copies of your published work? And when you provide those copies, the investigator or the mentor or your guide will read through it, or the committee will read through it. So your article should be methodologically sound, scientifically flawless, and should be written in a reasonable manner. So those are the things which are seen if it is not in PubMed index journal. And having few years of experience as academician or researcher always help. So those are the things, the later two will definitely make you an outstanding candidate. So again, ways to go about it. You can do it yourself, or you can find a good consultant, experienced, skilled, authentic, who will help you guide through the process. So some of the facts about PhD. I couldn't resist to put it over here because it looks very rosy that, okay, somebody is offering you a position which cost otherwise 1.5 to 2.3 crore rupees. But no, there are huge responsibilities associated with it. So I always like to say, no matter to who is my audience, PhD is a very, very serious business. In the United States, for physical therapy, minimum duration is 4 years. It's full time. So you have to come here, you have to work with mentor. Initially, you work on mentor guided projects. So for example, I am a PhD, I'm soon going to be a PhD guide. So my PhD student will start working under me, but slowly will develop his or her own research agenda and will try and pursue it in my lab. That research agenda will be aligned with my research, but will be still slightly different, so that that person can become independent investigator later on. The scientific rigor is very, very strong. So you need to complete coursework, and coursework consists of different courses, 3 credit each, and number of those, at least 12 to 13 courses you have to take over the span of 2 years, and not just take, but pass it with GPA of at least 3.5 to be in the program. You have to complete dissertation, you have to do publications and scientific presentation. So it's a grueling process for sure, but hard work pays off. You can see this is a true and genuine smile both on my face as well as my mentor's face. So fruits are definitely sweeter. But it is a grueling process though. So what are the opportunities after PhD? So after PhD, you can either do postdoc research fellowship, and this is the route I took. I briefly will tell you what postdoc research fellowship is. It's the further research training under some other mentor that will help you making your science more strong to make you as more independent investigator. And people usually pursue postdoctoral research training who aspire to become scientists or who aspire to have more research intensive career. So you work with mentor, the difference only between PhD and postdoc mentor, here you need to have more problem solving abilities, you need to be more independent. Your mentor is just, I mean, not just there, but your mentor is to guide you, but not hold your finger and walk you through each and everything. More independence is required here. This is a paid job, so you get paid for your job to do research, so that is excellent. Or you can go for academic or faculty position. So people like those who aspire to teach and do less intensive research can actually go into faculty position right after your PhD. Once again, both have excellent job market, so there are no problem actually with the finding faculty positions. But caution here, you need to earn the job. It's not that you have PhD, that means the job is waiting for you. You need to have a good reputation of yourself as a student. You need to publish, you need to establish your skill sets as well as research agenda. But these are cream jobs though. Decent pay scale, 85 to 130,000 per annum starting salary, which is 65 lakhs to 1 crore just for the assistant professor on the first year of their tenure. Visa has special consideration. So academic jobs usually get visa sponsorship very easily. This is one difference between the job visa sponsorship for clinician and academician. It's a cakewalk for academicians actually. It comes with number of benefits for academicians, and people, those who value money, those could be more like in terms of good retirement benefits, etc. But for people like me, I value more of my knowledge and science, and for me, those benefits are I get to attend national international conferences, I get to discuss and talk with number of scientists all over the globe. I can access thousands of articles a day without just using my library resources. I have my team to work with, and I see those as my great benefits. Also, these are tenure and non-tenure track positions, and I again do not have time to go through these details, and neither you need to know much. But tenure is something like which comes with high expectations. So for example, my position right now is a tenure track. I have been given 6 years to prove myself as a productive professional. If I prove to and keep myself up to the expectation of the university, my job will be forever. I mean, university cannot kick me out unless I commit some crime, and I hope I don't. So those are tenure track positions. The non-tenure track are fixed term, so your contract is year by year. You perform well, you get your next year like contract. Otherwise, if you do not perform, you will be kicked out of the university again. So in either case, you need to just work persistently and earn towards your tenure and promotion. So yes, these are high-paying jobs. These are decent jobs, but it's not that you get a job and you get promotion and tenure automatically. No, you need to work persistently towards it. So quickly, some of the do's and don'ts. Okay, so do's in either case, whether you want to be clinician or you want to pursue PhD, determine what your goals are. Don't just look at, so for example, um, somebody approached me, excellent clinician, but was little bit concerned about the financial aspects of the master's program. So that person said, can I pursue PhD because that is full funded position? I was like, what is your goals? You want to be a researcher or a clinician? And the clear cut answer was clinician. I was like, please, I mean, do not consider that will ruin your life, and that will ruin your mentor's life. So stick to your goals. Don't just look at any other lucrative options or the short-term options. Design your plan of action, how you want to go ahead. Um, so all those things, work on your timeline. It is very crucial. If you are in bachelor's degree right now and you want to start your master's preparation, that has to be 9 to 12 months before, and for PhD it has to be 12 to 15 months before you start actually the program. So those are intensive preparations. Don't think it will be a job done in 1 month. You need to have excellent communication, and there is no other option for that. Remember that your just one hasty email can ruin everything forever, and I'll give you an example of it in just next slide. uh, do prepare your application material very well. Just get those proofread, no grammatical errors, no sentence structure errors, those kind of things, and be authentic while you prepare your application material. While it's really very attractive to make very pleasant your application material, but it is, if you put fraudulent material, that is going to destroy you forever. And respect others' time and privacy. Sometimes it happens that we tend to expect reply to email just like how we expect in text. No, that is not how it works. So respect others' time and privacy, and ultimately your attitude decides your aptitude. So I don't need to say anything about that. Have that good attitude that will definitely take you to the greater aptitude. And then some of the don'ts. So the number one don't is poor communication. It's a big red flag. You won't believe it, but that will ruin everything. Now here is just a small example here. You can see it's not just the grammatical and sentence structure errors right here, but also look at the intention. I mean, you need to be kind, you need to be courteous, and that's your attitude. And as I said, your attitude decides aptitude. If you send this kind of email to someone, some professional here in the USA, please don't ever expect that you will get the answer back, irrespective of number of repetitive emails. Okay, so then what is correct format? Please address someone with dear doctor, or like whatever the salutation is. Introduce yourself, introduce with your educational background. Explain what is the purpose of this email and why are you interested in pursuing PhD or even master's with that researcher. And conclude with a thank you remark and write all your details, which include name, designation, address, phone number, and email. So that will be appropriate, if not correct, I would say appropriate format of email. Do your due diligence. So if you, for example, apply to someone, if some candidate apply to my research lab and want to work with me, but doesn't know what is my research interest, that candidate will be easily caught and again will be a red flag. So do your due diligence about the person with whom you want to apply. Again, ill-formatted application material is don't. Falsified information and plagiarism. These are two serious, almost criminal offense in the United States. Don't ever do it. That is my sincere request. It just not spoils the applicant, but it also spoils the reputation of other professionals of the same nationality working here. And from ethical perspective, don't ever do it wherever you are. Just be authentic, be genuine. And then one more thing, repetitive email of inquiries. So once you send email, If you don't get answer, please wait at least 1 week and then send another email. And if you don't get answer to your second email, please don't write third email. And if you're writing this kind of a communication, don't even ever expect that you will get a reply. So those are key things which you need to follow when you are a professional. All right, so last, just like 2 slides on a philosophical note. Aspire to live an American dream is great, and we must dream. But remember, it needs hard work, passion, persistence, patience, sacrifice, and confidence. So if you want to walk this ladder, please have all these attributes to your personality. And ultimately, success is journey. It's not a destination. You need to just keep walking on it. Just a concluding thought, put your heart, mind, and soul into everything, even the smallest of your act. And this is the secret of success, as Swami Vivekananda said. And this is very much philosophy of my life. If you need consultation, you can email me. You can follow me on ResearchGate. My ResearchGate page is much more interesting than my Facebook page. So I would like you to follow me on ResearchGate. Please apply all those do's and don'ts when you write me an email. Send me specific questions with your CV. Allow 24 to 48 hours for response to relevant questions. And my best availability will be August 2020, probably not before that. I'm extremely busy with a lot of professional responsibilities right now. So those who are interested can contact me after August 1st. So once again, thank you so much. This is a small part of our East Carolina University. We have PhD in movement science program. We already started application for our PhD cohort this year. Soon we'll have PhD students. We also have Doctor of Physical Therapy program. Yeah, do consider our movement science program if you are interested in PhD. So thank you so much. I will stop here and would like to give you a chance to ask questions.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for such an informative session. I can see many questions from our participants. So let's start with the question and answer section.
Yeah.
The first question is, what about the FCCPT process and licensure exam?
Sure, and that's a good question. So FCCPT, so as I said, if you did your bachelor's degree from India and if you do your master's degree from USA, you get take your mark sheets and syllabi and send it to FCCPT. So for FCCPT, you have to open the account. You have to pay their registration fees, which is really high, almost like $1,000, which is 75,000, 76,000 rupees. And then they ask your universities to send them your degree certificates, your mark sheets, and your syllabi, both from bachelor's degree and master's degree. Once they have it, they take 3 to 6 months of time period to assess. After their assessment, basically that assessment is to see whether your education so far is equivalent to meet the criteria for US entry to profession degree, which is DPT degree. If you fulfill their criteria, they will say, yes, you're good to go and take the licensure exam. If you do not fulfill those criteria, they will say these are the deficiencies in your, so for example, if you do not have sufficient credit for your anatomy or physiology, you have to take certain online exams, fulfill those credits, and then send them back again. They will do another process of review and let you know whether you are substantially equivalent to take the licensure exam. So that is FCCPT. For licensure exam, it's the national board exam. So you study from your bachelor's and master's material. So pretty much whatever you will study for your bachelor's and master's, all those basic things. You after studying, you take the exam. It's 250 marks, 250 question exam, 5 hours long. And you have to pass it with 70%. Once you pass it, you are able to work as a physical therapist here in the United States.
Thank you, ma'am. Second question is, every city or a state in the USA have to different license exam?
Yes, that's a good question as well. Yes, every state, which is called a jurisdiction, has different laws. Yes, the common exam is the same. So you will take the same exam for, for all the states. So exam is national level. But if you want to work, for example, in North Carolina versus New York, you might have different requirement for each state. So you take the same exam, but you get affiliated to different state, and that state might itself have different requirements. So for example, North Carolina has a requirement that you learn the laws of health professionals over here. So you have to take that exam and fulfill that deficiency.
Thank you, ma'am. Third question is, please, ma'am, can you elaborate on GRE and TOEFL exam procedure and score?
Sure. So those are like standardized exam. GRE is a graduate record exam. It includes three components. One is your English. So in English, they have like passages. You have to read those passages, answer those questions, read some intensive vocabulary, those kind of things in English. They have basic math. So right from your 8th standard until your 12th standard math, and they have multiple choice question based on that as well. And the third section is writing. So they give prompt and you have to write essays for those 2 or 3 essays, I believe. Usually, now when I took it was different. Now the mark system has changed. So I think score of usually 300, 315 or 10 is a requirement for PhD. But don't quote me on that. Somebody can check like what is the exact score required for each university. Yeah, you have to score that. TOEFL is just the standard, it's a test of English language proficiency. So it's everything English based. So it sees that whether you can read English, write English, comprehend in English, speak English, and you can listen. And yeah, so that is comprehension, listening and answering and writing. So that is TOEFL exam.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Next question is, how is the further scope who already done MPT in India?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? There was some disturbance.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. How is the further scope who already done MPT in India?
Scope for what? For clinician or for PhD?
Both.
Okay. So as I mentioned in my talk, if you aspire to be a clinician and if you already have master's degree and you come here for a short master's degree, that will make you a little bit stronger candidate. The reason is because when you study bachelor's and master's, you study a little bit more compared to, so if you have master's degree, you learn more than a bachelor's degree. So you accumulate those credits in number of different subjects. So for example, with neurophysiotherapy in bachelor's and neurophysiotherapy in master's, both when combined, your credits become more. So if you already have master's degree, the credential evaluation will be a bit more softer and smoother for you compared to one who has only bachelor's degree. For PhD, if somebody has master's degree, again, it depends what stage of master's. I mean, if you finish master's, do you have clinical experience or do you have academic experience? Do you have some publication experience? So based on all those things, and again, your strong research interest will make you a good candidate for PhD. So those are 2 scopes.
Thank you, ma'am. One last question, ma'am. If a candidate has a lower GRE score but a good profile, what are the chances of the acceptance?
Yeah, so it all at the discretion of the university and at the discretion of the admission committee. So if there is a strong like criteria that at the university level and at the department and committee level that somebody with this cutoff score, so if the cutoff, if candidate doesn't meet this cutoff score, no matter how good candidate is, that candidate failed to fulfill our criteria, that university will not accept you. But then you can always like ask. So America is all about ask. So ask that if you do not have good GRE score, for some reason you could not make it to that GRE score, but you have all these other accolades. So could you please consider? Not that it doesn't go that please consider because I'm the best candidate. No, could you please consider me? So that is how it works. And again, as I said, it is at the discretion of university, at the discretion of department, their policies and the admission committee.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am, for the responses. And I appreciate the enthusiasm of the participants for the entire session. Now, moving forward, I would like to invite Dr. Vaibhavi for the vote of thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Antara. It was an interesting and informative question answer session. First of all, I would like to thank all the participants for attending this session with great enthusiasm. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to our honorable speaker, Swati ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for enlightening us with your knowledge and experience. Thank you for sparing time from your busy schedule and making us all aware about various aspects of higher education in USA. This will definitely help all our aspirants to fulfill their dream. I extend my sincere thanks to Honorable National Head Dr. Ruchi ma'am for this venture of upliftment of our field. I would love to extend our thanks to Dr. Suvarna Ganveer ma'am and the entire Maharashtra state team of IAPWC for their constant guidance, which has actually made this session a great success. And most importantly, I would like to thank each and every person who has directly or indirectly contributed to this session. It wouldn't have been possible without you all. Thank you once again. And now I request all the participants to kindly fill the feedback forms. The link for the feedback forms is given in the chat section, chat box. So please kindly fill the feedback forms. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If any other participants